So what? It's just sex.
Wait a minute.
Hey everybody, I'm Ron,
I'm Janelle.
and you're listening to
So What? It's Just Sex.
This podcast takes on the topics of sex in and out of relationships.
And we aim to normalize talking about sex by removing the stigma of asking for what you want in and out of the bedroom.
From time to time, we'll have guests on the show.
And go out into the world and explore what sex looks like for us and other people.
Come with us on this wild ride, and hopefully we will open up your sexual world or at least make you feel normal.
You can find us on most podcast platforms.
Like iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play Store, etc.
And of course, don't forget to follow us or subscribe. And please rate us.
You can also visit our website, sowhatitsjustsex.com.
And our email address is info@sowhatitsjustsex.com.
We're also on social media at SoWhatIt'sJustSX on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook, it's at SoWhatIt'sJustSex. Also, we're on Podbean.com.
And of course, all of these are on our website.
Thank you so much for listening.
We hope you enjoy this episode as much as we enjoy recording it.
This is So What? It's Just Sex. Hey, what's up, everybody? We are here with another episode of So What? It's Just Sex, and it's an awesome week, honey.
It is an awesome week.
We actually have a special guest on the show.
We have the most specialist of guests.
Specialist of guests. We have Fallon E. Lane. Say hi, Fallon.
Hello, everyone.
So Fallon,
How are you?
Fallon is coming all the way from Georgia.
From Georgia.
I am.
And we have Fallon on the show because Fallon has a new erotic story. Is this your first published erotic story?
Yes, this will be my first published erotic story ever. I'm super excited.
How exciting is that? Oh my goodness.
I can't even take it anymore.
I looked it up on Amazon today, added it to our list so
Yeah.
that when it comes out, it can be like, hey.
Will you read it to me in a sexy voice?
Yay.
Will I read it? I don't know how sexy my voice can get.
Well, you can read it to me. You're good at storytelling.
I'll just be like, and he pulled out his shaft.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
his
it.
friend pulled out his shaft.
That's right.
And she thought to herself, how will both of them fit in my one cavern?
Yeah. My one tiny hole.
My tiniest of holes. How can it fit in there?
I'm so tiny.
She'll make it work.
She will make it work. But that's what we do as women. We make it work. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
It's totally worth it. It's totally worth it.
So it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's called The Tales of Madeline?
No, sir.
No,
It's
which is it?
The Taste of Madeline.
Oh, Taste of Madeline. See,
Even better.
Yes, yes, yes.
Madeline's
Oh.
getting tasted.
Madeline is
Yeah.
getting tasted.
Getting tasted a lot.
So The Taste of Madeline is coming out at the end of the month. What day?
On the 30th.
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
Right.
June 30th. And then everyone will find out how Madeline tastes.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about yourself. What brought you to wanting to write an erotic story, or specifically this story?
Well, okay, starting from the beginning, I've been writing for a long time. I started off writing poetry very young, and most of my poetry was a little bit on the naughty side. So I've always had that in me. But as far as fast forward now, I actually started writing out of necessity. It was kind of therapy for me. I was going through some things and I felt like I wanted to just get it out on paper, and it sort of turned into an idea for a novella. And that was a year ago. And when I started writing the novella, I realized that I really wasn't ready for it. And I needed to learn a whole lot more before I continued to pursue writing that story, which is dear to my heart. So I took a break, and someone suggested, hey, why don't you write short stories to kind of get your feet wet a little bit
Yeah.
to still continue to write because I had so many stories in my head. And I said, cool, I'll work with that. And I just thought of, wouldn't it be pretty interesting to write a series of stories based on the five senses? And that's kind of how the Taste of Madeline and the other four stories that follow came about. So that's where it all went down.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
I'm loving it.
I know. That's
Because
so fucking cool.
we just watched the Netflix cooking show, not just, but like when it came out, and it's the five senses. Yeah, it was like taste, touch, and then there was like salt and this, you know.
Yes.
So it just
okay. I see where you're kind of going with this.
yeah. So I'm just
Okay.
saying. I would love to read about the five senses.
It's called
especially
salt,
in
fat, and acid is what it's
yeah,
called.
but you know what I'm
Ron.
saying. But it's kind of like that thing where because we love food and sex
Yeah.
go hand in hand. So
Oh,
to
yeah,
be able
it's
to
all
like
pleasure.
yeah, so
Yeah.
to be able to focus on the five senses. So why was taste first?
Kind of because taste, when you look up the five senses, taste is always the first listed. So I started with taste. That it's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
And it's a male, female, which is my favorite to write. And I figured, hey, I would just break the ice with something super naughty to start off with. Some of the my other stories, the male female are very male female,
Right.
and I read a lot of both. And I said, well, I haven't read any male female, and I just wanted to kind of throw it out there and just get a little dirty.
Do you find
know.
that in your research? I haven't ever researched this, but do you find that in your research you've seen a lot of female male stories?
Yes.
Yeah, right. They're
Yes.
all over the place. Like we're not allowed to have two dicks. Like guys are allowed to have two pussies. We're not allowed to have two dicks.
Not
That's
allowed.
not fair.
Right.
That's I don't know if
guys
it's not
do
allowed.
It's not the norm, right?
Yeah, it's not. And you won't find a lot of women admitting that they find the idea of two males together enjoyable.
Well, that's one of Janelle's favorite things.
Yeah,
That's
that's
like-
why me and Janelle jam. That's,
Yeah,
That's why we
I
jam.
think that's her number one favorite.
So fun.
yeah.
I just recall.
But a lot of people won't admit to it. They
Yeah.
think, oh, that's weird. And I'm like, why is it weird
Yeah.
to watch two beautiful men enjoying themselves together and enjoying each other in front of you? What's hotter than that? I mean, my God, it's like,
I don't know. Is there anything hotter than that?
There's nothing hotter than that, and it's not. You know, it's not just the male aspect of it. Like that's cool, but like I also want to be involved as well, selfishly. But
oh, yes.
I don't know if you've listened to previous podcasts, but like one of our common thread or our theme is that Ron won't let me put anything near his butthole.
Right.
So
Right.
he doesn't want.
Oh, yeah, I heard that you have a little thing about that, Ron.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
I
scared.
wouldn't
He's
say
a little scared.
I wouldn't say it's a thing. More along the line that it's like more of kind of like I'm just like, oh, what something's coming near my ass. No, I'm like, no, thank you. I'm full. I've had some things.
But we did have an experience with a man who he's just adorable and he's our friend and he how do I say this? He was like our first like really true male female experience.
He was our first, our 7th, our 15th, and our 20th.
He was a recurring character,
yeah,
if you will.
he's definitely the recurring character
He's a
in the
recurring
story.
character. Yeah,
Wow.
he was a recurring character. He was great. He was so open to anything, and it wasn't like he was experienced at doing anything either. Like, because Ron never like kissed a guy or had a guy near his dick or any of those things, and neither did he. So they kind of like experimented a little bit with each other, and I was just lucky enough to be like in the room, like watching and being
privy
involved.
to be a part of that beautifulness.
Oh my God, it was great.
you're gonna love these stories, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna love these
Ooh.
stories.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. If we have time today, I can read some, but if we don't,
Yes.
that's
Oh no,
cool.
No, I would love that. I
we're
would
gonna
love
get
that. We
there.
will make time.
So let me ask you a question. Now, have you personally experienced male, female?
No, these are all fantasies. These are all in my head, things that I have thought of for many years, but never acted on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never personally had a, well, I won't say I've never had a threesome. Let me not say that.
The plot thickens.
Let me retract that statement. Okay, so I've never really had what you call an official threesome.
Yeah.
It was more like a happy accident kind of
Okay.
thing. It just kind of like whoop whoop whoop. Like,
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the night happens that way, and you're like, "Oh, here we are. Wow, okay."
Oh, there have
well,
been many occasions where our
this is happening.
Yeah.
evening wound up that way.
Oh, absolutely. You didn't plan on it. You're just like,
Yeah.
"All right, this is what's going on. I'm just gonna go with the
Janelle's
flow."
like
Yeah.
infamous statement is she'll always be like, "We're not coming home at 4 a.m. We're just gonna go out for a drink and come right back." And then next thing you know, a night ends that way.
Yeah, I don't plan for it. It just so happens to happen that way.
It only happens to her though. I'm lucky enough to be in the room when these things happen. So like, yay
Yeah.
me. But if I went out and tried to make that stuff happen, I'd get arrested.
Yeah, you would definitely get arrested.
But this
you
one,
get slapped and punched and arrested.
This one will walk up to a girl and be like, "You're hot," or she'll walk up to a couple and be like, "Hey, you two, you guys are sexy. Let's do this." And I'm just like, I try it, and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Get away from me, creep!"
I think that it's just
Yeah, you seem like a creeper.
I am.
Creepers
I am.
when they approach women in that manner.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think you were a creeper if
Yeah.
you came up to me and was like, "Hey, you're hot.
No.
Let me, me and my wife." I'm like, "Ew, creeper."
I
I
know.
know.
I know. They were like,
If
"Where's?"
she
They're like,
came to
"Where?"
me and said, I'd be flattered.
Yeah, like
I'd be "Oh."
where's your wife? And they're
Yeah.
like, girls are suspect all the time, which I can say that that's true. Like I'm like, you're fucking weird. Where's your wife? You're just you're just throwing me a line out there to see if you can catch me out there. But that's not,
Yeah.
and it's super creepy. But when girls do it, like, hey, oh, your husband's cute. You're cute. You want to go have a drink?
You know,
It's a little different.
It's a hard world for me. It's a hard world for me. For it,
Of the beast, Ron. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
I
okay?
know.
And it just is. It's the way that it is. I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
really am sorry.
It's all right. At least I get to be a part of it.
Yeah, you still get to have all the fun, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter.
So do you feel like in your writing you get to kind of like experience that sensation, like that feeling? Like I don't know how like in depth you want to get, but do you like sometimes will write like some stuff out and you'll maybe have like a super steamy thing and then you can like masturbate to your own material or like, be like, "Honey, wake up. I wrote something really steamy and you just got to be there."
It's a honey wake up. It's always a honey wake up. Yeah, it's a wake up moment. Actually, yes, I have to my own writing. It depends on what I'm writing and how. It could be early in the morning when I wake up first thing. I've dreamt about what I need to write, which usually happens about 3 a.m. I wake up and I'm like, "Ooh, this is gonna be good." And wake up. It's time to service me.
Oh, the
Mr.
poor guy.
Fallon.
Mama
Yeah,
needs some
to Mr.
attention.
Fallon.
Oh,
Yeah,
poor
Mr. Fallon.
poor Mr. Fallon has to
Oh.
deal with waking up at 3 a.m. for a little
Oh, he's
service sesh.
He's happy. He wakes me up, so little tit for tat is fine.
Yeah.
Per se.
It's okay.
But
You're
yeah.
married. You have a contract right now. You can wake him up
Yeah.
whenever the hell you want to wake him up. Like, hello.
Yeah.
You have a contract?
You do have a contract.
Yeah, you do. You make a contract when you get married. It's
Yeah.
you sign things. So you sign things. That's
I
a
signed some
contract.
shit when I married you. I signed it. We just signed it, signed my name.
No, but you know what
We
I
put
don't
our
understand.
fingerprint down
So
or something.
here's where I'm not going to call it a double standard, but here's where the haha male female thing is. If I wake you up in the middle of the night, you'll be like, "What are you doing? I got to get up in the morning. Stop." And I'm like, "Okay," because I'm not like a creeper. But then you wake me up in the middle of the night, and you're like,
we just established that you are a
"No,"
creeper.
because I'm not. And then you wake me up in the middle of the night. You're like, "I want some." I'm like, "I'm tired." You're like, "I don't care. This is working. I'm just gonna sit on top of this, and you're just gonna have to deal with it."
Yeah, I need your tool.
But
Just,
you like it, John. You like it. You know you do.
No, oh, you see, you know what? That's just not fair. Like just because he's ready to play doesn't mean that I'm mentally prepared for it.
excuse me.
Oh,
There's been
please.
some nights though where you're like, no,
Yeah, but you try.
and you're
You
just
have to
pretending to
try.
snore. Yeah,
You
I
have to
pret-
try.
you have to try, right?
Yeah.
You have to. Why
All,
not?
all you can say is no, and then you go and handle your business some other way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Oh, I
but
just
and then
got-
that's the problem because then she starts to handle her business, and I'm like, oh well, now I'm intrigued.
That's true. That
Now
has
I'm-
happened.
Right.
Okay, I'll do it.
That has happened
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, it has.
That's
I
the-
know. It's a little hot. It's a little hot in here. Fallon, you're getting us all hot.
Yay.
You're getting
Then
us
I've
all
done my
hot.
job.
Yeah, we're all hot and bothered.
But yeah, to answer your other question, yeah, it's totally to experience. And, you know, being in a monogamous relationship with my husband, you obviously don't want to go outside of that understanding.
Yeah.
So in order to be able to live out a fantasy of mine, I write about it.
Yeah.
And it's my way of, you know, getting that out to express that. And, you know, the mind is the hugest sexual organ. So once you get that working, there's no turning back.
Right.
And that's so important. And I think we talk about that a lot. It's another recurring theme of our show is that we're always trying to explain to people, like, you don't have to go outside of your relationship to have fantasies.
Right.
And they're so healthy. And you just have to express your fantasy with your partner. So that way they kind of have a chance to be like, okay. You know, and then who knows, like, maybe the person you're with might be like, I know you want 2 dicks, you know, maybe grab your vibrator and then let me go do this over here and you can see what that's like, you know what I mean? And you can kind of have this shared experience with the person you're supposed to be with. You can have like a male female fantasy while just having a male female sexual moment.
Yeah. No, that's
Right.
true. Because before we had like actually 2 dicks in the room, or I did, we just had like we just had our toys or my toys. And so we got to experience some of that stuff before we had an actual person. And then we came to an agreement that we would try to go outside of our marriage together. And so we did that. And that's what led to the other experiences. Before that, I was like, this is what I want. This is what I want to try. And Ron was open to it. So
Yeah, you gotta like have fantasies, even if you're
you got to find a way to express yourself.
you got to.
Yeah, that's important. We're just human
It's
beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely
Like I was
important.
watching, I'm maybe digressing, but I was watching Handmaid's Tale. I'm binge watching it right now. And
Yeah.
there was a scene where one of the girls, she's like betrothed to this man who she's never met before. It's kind of like an arranged marriage, but they don't love each other. They just met each other and they don't love each other. And she steps outside of the arranged marriage to go hook up with some bodyguard or whatever. She finds him hot and she's like, oh, I'm going to go I'm in love with that guy. And it's like in this world where it's like communism essentially,
Yeah.
where everything is controlled, who you're with is controlled, who you have sex with is controlled. It's human nature to you want what you want and you want to express yourself the way you want to express yourself. So she still found a way to go do her thing and get herself, to be happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love that you're doing this because it's so necessary. There's so many, you're going to reach a lot of people. I don't want to say just women because I feel like as the years go by, more and more men will start to admit that they read erotic stories. And I think that you're going to reach a lot of people who get to kind of like live vicariously through your characters. And I think that is super important.
Yeah.
Because it's
Right.
it's so interesting, and this is, I'm going to throw this question to you, Fallon. It's kind of like in a world where, we have access to porn online and we have access to movies where every book is made into a movie. like literature is still just as strong today as it's ever been. The medium of literature has changed, with Kindle and Amazon and all that stuff, but they're still making tons of money on books because it's so important to read and to kind of like experience your fantasies that way, whether it be sci-fi.
Immerse yourself in it. Yeah.
So have you thought about that? Like how, you're going to, a lot of people think that the medium of writing is kind of like gone now, but I don't think so. Like I think it's just as strong today as it's ever been. What do you think?
Yeah, it will never disappear. I mean, have you ever experienced reading a book and then seeing the movie adaptation of that book? They chop it, they screw it, whatever you can think of. It's never the same. With a book, you can disappear. You can imagine the characters, even though the person who is writing hopefully describes these characters, but you have your own thoughts of what they look like in your head, and they turn into your fantasy of who you want them to be and who you're excited about. And the words just stick with you. When you see a movie, it's 2 hours of, okay, that was great. I spent $14 and it had some popcorn. It's totally different. Books will never go out of style, whether it be digital or paperback. They will never go out of style. It's nothing like, for me, I like actually physically having books in my hands. It's nothing like cracking open a fresh book and just reading those words and turning down the pages. You feel like you accomplished something when you reach a certain point of that book. Like, I've almost made it. I'm almost done. And I can't wait to see what happens next. That kind of thing. It's different from a movie, which I enjoy as well, but it's totally different. You can,
it's like you said, you can, it's like you said, you can kind of imagine it your own way. So it's like
more personal.
It's more personalized to you, where you can imagine whoever the main character might be, what their hair color is, or what nationality they are, or whatever it might be. You can kind of just like, you can fit it to what you need it to be for your own self. I really like that too.
Speaking of that, I definitely needed to ask this. So since we're talking about it right now, so I went to your website, and you're like, meet the men of this series, and I was like, where'd you get these people? And did you have to like buy stock photos? Like, and I was just like, and then I'm like, in my head, I'm picturing like you going, like, there's just like 100 dudes, and you're like, no. Yep, you come here. Yep, you come here. I like those abs. You come here. And then they take a picture, and then you're like, okay, I'm just gonna use all of you.
Oh my God, if that was true. If I had a whole like lineup of beautiful, gorgeous men and just got my pick like on America's Top Model, that would be awesome.
So how did you get the pictures for? Well, the cover is really enticing. I showed you the cover earlier. So how did you get those?
Those pictures I just randomly like stalked. I seriously stalked every website and freebie picture website possible. Pixabay, you name it, I was on it, stalking to see if I can just find these men that I had in my head. And that's basically how I found them. I just knew in my brain what I wanted them to look like, and I was really a stickler with my cover artist on what I wanted them to look like. And she did my cover about 3 times, and it was just, I was like, that is not him. That is not him.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we're not going to get exactly close. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not hearing that. I want to get as close as possible.
Right.
Of course, it's never going to be 100%, but I want to get as close as possible. I wanted the cover to show the dynamic between the 3 of them, and to also show the difference between the 2 men, because even though they're 2 men, obviously one has one personality and one has another personality.
Right.
Colin, which is the darker haired one, he's very earthy and free, and he's pansexual.
Mm-hmm.
So he is very like just open to everything, and I
Yeah.
wanted him to look like that.
Right.
A little less muscular,
Mm-hmm.
more on the slimmer side, more feminine,
Mm-hmm.
kind of not like a female, but more
Right.
feminine. And Fletcher, which is the blonde, he's very all American,
Right.
and he's tough on the outside, but like a sugar bear on the inside with the girl. But he's stern. He's rougher. You know,
Yeah.
he handles her when they reach a certain age. He handles her. He's rougher, and the other guy is more like a lover, and Fletcher is more like I'm gonna handle you, you know, kind of thing.
I'm getting.
Wow,
This is
So I wanted
exciting.
I feel like I'm a little bit of both. I feel like sometimes I'm all very delicate and like, oh, you're my flower. I'm just gonna slowly, and then other times you're like, fucking choke me. I'm like, yeah, take that, take
That's
it,
true, I guess.
take it, and then I have to handle you. Now I know what it's called. I'm handling you.
You're handling me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be handled.
Sometimes
You
I
need
do
a,
need to be.
you need a handler. That's what you need.
Go handle her. Right?
Yeah.
Go handle-
Oh, this podcast is about to get real.
No, but seriously, it's like in my head, that's the perfect man. The man who handles, and then the man who knows when to be the lover.
Yeah, like sensitive and like attentive to
Right.
what you need. Mm-hmm.
Everybody heard it
Right.
here first. Fallon said I'm the perfect man.
That's right. That's what I just said.
Yep.
You can mark off your list. Done.
Yep.
Check.
Check. I'm done. The show is over. Like we don't need.
Mic drop.
Yeah, we don't ever need to record again, ladies. I'm the perfect man.
Yeah.
The perfect man.
No,
So-
you're
No.
right. You are right about that because there's a you have to have a mashup. It's just like a woman. Like it's the same fucking thing with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-uh.
A man wants a woman who can be a slut
Yeah.
and a woman
Yep.
who's respectful. I
Yep.
mean, what man doesn't? Sometimes you just want to just fuck her, you know,
Yeah.
and then sometimes you just want to just
Have her
make
do your
love.
have
I mean,
her do your laundry.
I don't know.
It's
I would like I would like to meet the man who's asking for those different facets because I feel like men are a little less complicated.
Excuse me.
I feel like all men
Wait, you
just
don't
want
want me
fuck
to
her.
do your laundry or cook you dinner and fuck you? You don't want that?
No, I'm talking about in the bedroom with the door closed, where none of life itself happens. Like whether you say, "Oh, come all over my tits and treat me like a dirty whore," or you say, "Love me." I'm like just excited to be there. Like either one, I'm excited. Do I prefer one over the other? Not necessarily. I'm like, "Oh, I get to come today? Yay me. I'm the luckiest man on the planet." You know what I mean?
I'm coming to realize that that's how you guys think, and it's so interesting.
Very basic.
to have
Very
that
basic.
Further confirms that you guys are just like, yay, you know, I get to get up in that day, and
Yep.
I'm excited, you
Yeah.
know. Let's whatever
Yeah.
you want to be today, it's fine with me as long as I get to get in that. We good.
Yeah,
you
girls
know?
are a little bit more intricate
well,
and
yeah.
complicated.
Like not to make this about pizza, but if like you have this like if you're in New York and
My
there's this
favorite food.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
there you go. So you're in New York and there's this pizzeria around the corner that
Yeah.
has a good slice of pizza every time. You can live on that one slice of pizza forever. You don't need it to be, brick oven. You don't need it to be deep dish. You just need a good slice of pizza, and baby,
What,
you
you
are
just
the
need-
most
Oh,
delicious
thank you.
slice of pizza.
That's the nicest compliment anyone's ever given to me.
That is so sweet because I love pizza, and that
too.
made my heart flutter just to hear.
It's like you compare me to a slice of pizza, you're definitely getting laid later.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm a little mushy. I'm a little salty. I'm a little saucy.
Yeah.
I'm all the things pizza is.
Yeah, and
That
then
kinda makes sense.
and then you got to fold it up in order to put it in your mouth.
That's the best way.
I know.
Oh, it's nothing like folding up a slice of greasy
That's
pizza.
so good.
I miss it so much.
Oh, I
Me
know.
too.
And
Me
so
too.
to Fallon's point and to your point, since men are not necessarily complicated, with the exception of mommy issues and all the nonsense they have in their lives,
Yeah.
it is important to write these men. That's why I'm pretty sure, like, as you start doing stuff and press and all that kind of thing for this, because I do believe that your personality, if your personality comes out in your writing, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I think that 50 Shades of Grey has been the acceptable erotic novel for females in America. I'm not saying that it's the correct one. I'm just saying that it's allowed to talk about, because that's the problem with like erotic stories and writing, is that women don't feel comfortable talking with their friends about it. So I feel like 50 Shades of Grey kind of broke that boundary, allowed people of all ages, like I think the age range for that book was 17 to 65. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was.
And, yeah.
And then the movie came out, and it was like,
And it ruined
the
everything.
movies.
yeah.
But
I know. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
know.
See how that ruined everything?
Yes,
Even
it
though
did.
I do movies and I do have all the books.
Yeah. It
and
was
we
great.
watched them all.
No, we did, and it's funny because Ron like jumped on the bandwagon when I was into it. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'll see what this is about."
Well, let's explain why. I jumped on the bandwagon because I come home from work and Janelle like tears my clothes off, and basically she treats me like a piece of meat, and I'm like, what happened? And she's like, oh, I started reading this book called 50 Shades of Grey, and I'm like, okay, keep reading. And I love the fact that there were a bunch of books. And she would be sitting there, and I could see that she was getting hot and bothered, and I could tell her pussy was getting wet. And I'm like, "Yay, me! Keep reading. I'll just lay here."
But it's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's like you're saying, like the book, like it can't quite translate exactly the same in the movie when they're describing. The writer's describing the look of him or the smell of him or the shape of his body, and he's wearing no shirt and just jeans, and he rips off her clothes. Like, I don't know. There's so much more detail when it's written down compared to when you're seeing it on the screen. It was so much better in the book.
Which is why people still read books today. It's the only piece of history that hasn't been eradicated by technology. It's like everything else. If you look at 8 tracks, VHS, CDs, even Blu-rays, like all of that stuff has been eradicated by technology, but literature and the word, whether it be on your Kindle or on your iPhone or on your iPad or physically in your hand, the written word is still as strong, if not stronger today, because back in the day, you could only go to Barnes & Noble to get a book.
Yeah.
Now you get the book 10 seconds after it was released on any platform you want. You can read it on your computer, anywhere. So I would actually argue that it's bigger today than it's ever been because there's more access to it. And I think it's
more options to publish. And previously, publishing was only done by publishing houses. And if they accepted you and thought that your work was worth spending the time to promote, publish. And now as an indie author, and there are millions of indie authors out there, it's so much more to choose from. And it's just become so huge now that we have the choice to put out whatever we want to put out without their acceptance,
And you could do what you want to do, like as opposed to what they want you to do.
And it seems to me like you want to write. The reason why I brought up 50 Shades of Grey is because a person got to write Christian Grey as the kind of person that you want to fantasize about.
He's broken, but he's
but in reality, he would be a total dick.
Yeah.
Like in the real world, he's a complete asshole. But in the book, he because normally when you have an asshole and you meet an ass, and correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, I'm speaking for the women of the world. But you meet an asshole and you think that there's a piece of like light in him, but in the end, he's just the asshole.
He had light in him.
Christian Grey had enough light where it kept shining through until eventually he had light. But realistically,
he had a hard childhood.
Realistically, an asshole's an asshole. An asshole never changes.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, it flowed because I think the reason why I loved 50 Shades so much, and honestly, I will tell you that 50 Shades of Grey opened me up to being able to. It was like a light bulb went off that it was okay to feel these things and to have these fantasies, and it's okay to walk around with a book at work reading about,
Right.
him, you know, coming all over her back. It's
Right.
okay,
Right. Right.
and it really opened up a lot of doors for me in my mind that I will never be able to close again. But I will tell you the what did it for me for 50 Shades, besides the hot sex, but what did it was the fact that he was totally devoted to her. I love that dynamic that he saw no one but her.
Yeah.
It was all about how she turned him out.
Yeah.
He
Even
had been with so many other women,
absolutely. And
but
he could get
she
and he can get any other
he
woman
could
too.
get
He can
anybody
get
he wanted.
anyone.
He could
Yeah.
walk out the door and just
Mhm.
pick up somebody on the street. He could do
Mhm.
whatever he wanted to do. He had the
Mhm.
money, he had the
Mhm.
looks,
Mhm.
the smarts. He could do whatever he wanted, but he chose her and
Right.
she had power over him.
Mhm.
And that dynamic of that power play,
Yeah.
that even though he was into the BDSM and he had the power over her in that way, she had the ultimate power
Cuz he loved
because
her.
she could break her.
Yeah.
She could break
Yes.
if she wanted to, which she
Yes.
did.
Yes.
So that's what did it for me. And
Yep.
in the movies, it didn't come across
No, it
whatsoever.
did not come across the same way in
You
the
know,
movies. It was so
yeah, she had
disappointing.
her moments, but it just didn't come across, and they missed so much
Yeah.
out of the book in the movies, all the in-depth
Like
scene.
yeah, the
I mean,
nuances.
the little things, it just didn't translate.
No, it didn't. It was more for me, it was more in the movie. It was more about the sex scenes and like shocking
Right,
people. Like, oh my
right.
God, this is being shown, at the AMC theater up the street. There's a girl tied up and she's being spanked or whatever. It's like, okay, if you watch porn, this is not shocking. Like, show me a mixture
Yeah,
of both things where there could be love and also she's getting spanked all at the same time because that's what their
yeah,
dynamic was, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you only
yeah.
ever see like porn where people are being spanked. You don't really see movies where people love each other. I'm gonna say love each other, and then also get to be spanked in
No,
between.
that's the thing, and I know that that was many years ago that it first came out, and we're slowly getting there. But this is where our podcast kind of spawned from that. There is a change happening right now in
Yeah.
society where sex is becoming what I think the 60s thought it would be. Like, I don't think they realized, like, they thought the sexual revolution was just being able to have sex openly and freely and say you're having sex. But in reality, sex is like step one. Sex is just so basic.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
it's the like the exploration of sex,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's like, and that's why it's like when I saw you on Twitter and I saw like the blurbs and the stuff that you were writing about, I was like, oh my goodness, you need to be on the show because I feel like you are gonna be the kind of person that we want our audience to learn about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's awesome. I never thought that anybody would pay attention to me.
Well,
You know,
because like,
honestly, I'm shocked.
well, here you got to think about it. Most people who hear about a book coming out that's about, male, female, written from a female perspective, their initial inclination is that you've experienced these things. Everyone assumes that their fantasies are based on reality.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's a majority of things that you and I fantasize about that can't be real.
Yeah.
It's just a fantasy.
Yeah.
And when we talk to couples or we talk to men or women, they're always like, "Oh, I can't tell you about my fantasies." And it's like there's no taboo anymore. Like the
Right.
taboo needs to be lifted. And I
That's
think
true.
that we need more people like you to be out there championing the lifting the taboo, We need to make it okay for couples. And it's super important for couples. If you're single, sure, but you can still live through fantasies and you can have all those things. But couples really desperately need an outlet. And I know
Hence
we
the
did.
so what? It's just sex. Like it doesn't matter. Like whatever it is that you fantasize about, you if you want to act it out, cool. If you don't, cool. Like, but it's okay to have the thoughts that you're having. Like we're all just human. We're all thinking the same things. We can all talk about it, giggle about it, maybe be shy about it, maybe. But like it's okay to express yourself.
But perfect example. And if it's okay if I ask about your husband real quick, when
Sure, yeah.
he knows what you write about, does he read your stuff?
He does not. He does not read.
Really?
Well,
No, he hasn't read anything that I've written.
but you
I've been
told him
trying to
about
get-
it.
Yes, he's aware.
Okay,
He's
so
aware.
sure. So
Alright.
he knows about what you're writing about, and he's just got to kind of be like, I love you, and that is a thing. Like you have to accept your partner for the things that they do. He doesn't have to read it, especially for however he wants to see you as, or whatever vision he has, or whatever thing he has. That's completely fine. But you can't be you if the person you're married to doesn't accept who you are. So for you to be able to say, "Hey, I'm writing about this stuff," and he goes, "Have fun with that," that's an acceptance.
That's
even
fine.
at the most littlest.
Yeah.
Like there's times, there's times where you're like, "I'm going to go do this thing," and I'm like, "All right, have fun with that." I'm not there. I'm not experiencing it with you. You're doing your own thing, but I'm still here. I still love you.
That's true.
And that's what couples are missing. Couples are so afraid to have individuality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And honestly, when I started writing, I didn't ask him. I just did it because that's my personality. I've always been, I am who I am. I make no apologies for it. When I want to do something, I do it. And then it kind of dawned on me one day, well, maybe I should ask my husband if he's okay with it, with me doing these things. And especially now that I'm starting to like do podcasts with you guys and talk about things more openly and not just some shadow hanging out in social media, I do talk to him and, kind of pre-warn him is what I kind of call it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get on this show now.
Yeah.
It's pretty sexual and I'm going to say some things. So I just want to let you know, are you cool with that? And they're going to ask me about you.
Yeah.
So if you don't want me to, he's like, no, that's cool. He's like, I don't care. Do what you got to do.
And that's amazing. That's great.
So,
but you do seem like the type of person who would only have married someone that you chose, that you felt like you knew you could grow with.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that people, I run into people all the time that don't do that. Like they'll be like, oh man, we're so different. I was like when Janelle and I met, we were not even close to who we are today.
Well, we were like 19 and 21.
But still, we were completely different people.
Yeah.
But one of the things I told you all the time, and I remember one time my cousin asked me, it was like, oh, did you marry the person that you knew you loved? And I was like, not necessarily the person I knew I loved, but the person that I knew that I would fall in love with forever. Like not just fall in love with for the month or the week or have our 3-month dating anniversary, but like the person that I knew that I could love forever, because you have to pick that person that you can grow with, where you can try stuff and touch the fire and know that it burns and then everybody laughs about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I've been married for, it'll be, 13 years this month.
Mm-hmm.
And we are totally different people.
Mm-hmm.
When I first married Mr. Fallon, I was in a totally different headspace than I am now. I've matured. I've come into my own, if that makes any sense.
Oh, totally.
With who I am sexually. Of course, I'm still growing as a person, and we're set in our ways, and we're two different people, so we're always going to butt heads about things. And we were raised two different ways.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, is I'm very emotional, and my parents were very open with me, about everything. I talk to my parents about everything. I talk to my mom at least 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And his situation is different, where he's the baby, and he kind of, he stays to himself. They don't have that dynamic, but that doesn't mean that they don't love each other as
Right.
much. But I'm very like, I'm needy, and I like attention. And when I don't get that attention, that's when things start going south.
Oh,
That's
the same
interesting
way.
because I know someone who's exactly the same way. And right now, the internet, no one can see it, but we're pointing at Janelle. It sounds very much.
That's okay. That's all right, though. It's all right. You know what, though? We deserve attention. I'm not trying to be, like, ignored, or, like, I deserve to be treated like a queen and, like, I'm special. Like, I deserve to be paid attention to.
Do you also feel like, because I
I
think
don't feel
we're all
bad for that anymore.
No, I think we're all around the same age. But do you feel like you've also come into your own over the last
Oh,
few
yeah.
years?
Like, when I'm 40 now, I turned 40 in December, but when I turned 30, it started to kind of, like, transition. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I'm feeling myself a little bit more than I ever did before. And then so from, like, 30 to 40, it was like, and now I'm like, I feel fucking great. I feel great. I feel better now than I did at 20.
I feel like I came into my own at like 24.
Did you hit your peak at 24?
I think so. And then by the time I was 30, I was like, I'm done. I'm like, it's
You're
over.
peaked.
I
You're
peaked.
peaked.
Yeah, I peaked. Everything else is just sustaining. I'm just
I mean,
sustaining.
and we're different people too. We have different needs, different wants, different desires. But like at the end of the day, we're best friends,
Yes.
and like we annoy each other at times. But it's like,
That's the point.
yeah, it's
Like-
like you're
like
never
it's
gonna
okay.
find the grass isn't greener on the other side.
So
you
I-
know,
I'm-
like you're always here for me. Like I know you got my back
do.
regardless of how much I annoy you.
But I love the idea that, because I know that you would do this too if you were going to write something. I love the idea of the two of you writing your version of the men that you would like
Yeah.
to have fawn over you. So with that being said, you said you had an excerpt, like something you wanted to read?
Yeah, I have.
Because I would love to hear what that is, and it's mostly research on my end, so that way I know how to please you when the situation arises.
You might get a hard on and might knock on the table underneath you.
Oh, I love that you think my dick would be big enough to knock on this table from as far down as I'm sitting. That's great. I'm just getting all this love tonight.
Dreams.
It's fantasies.
It is. It's fantasies.
Right?
It's all about fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel weird about reading my own stuff. I don't have that sexy, hot voice that goes.
You sound adorable.
Oh.
I love your voice. I love your voice.
No, but Fallon and we have as well. You've listened to the Good Girl Gone Bad podcast.
Oh yeah.
Oh God,
The
I mean,
Duchess woman.
I
Her
call
voice
her-
is
Yeah.
her voice is a sensual
Yeah.
lullaby.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I tell her
Yeah.
all the time.
it's
all the time.
a wet dream. Like if you're listening. Okay, so just so everybody knows, there is a podcast on Podbean and anywhere podcasts can be found, and it's called Good Girl Gone Bad, and it is so steamy, and it's like only like 30 minutes usually. Like I was texting her with her today, as a matter of fact, being like, we're coming to London and we're gonna do like a tour and hang out with you, and she was like, okay. And her voice, if you if anybody listening to our show, if you go and listen to her voice, you're gonna understand what we're talking about. That voice is hot.
Fire.
Yeah, she's reading
Hot.
2 of my stories next month.
Oh,
Ooh.
really?
I'm excited about that because her voice alone will sell
Hell
anything.
yeah.
We could be talking about
Yeah.
toilet paper. That woman, I was like, oh my God.
I can't even but she's like, I've taken a crop and I'm wiping my ass. And my asshole is so dirty. And I'm just like, tell me
You're
more.
drooling. You're drooling.
Oh, all the time. All the time.
She says naughty.
Naughty. She's like, she's like, so what? I get spanked. Let's talk about the proper levels of spanking. Grab your hand. pull it back at a 45-degree angle. And I'm just like, I was cracking up with her today.
I'm doing it. Oh my God, it's 45.
It's not as sexy though when I do it. But
Me
yeah.
either.
We like, let us hear a little bit. Come on, bust it down.
Oh God. Oh, this is embarrassing. Okay. Colin slips his finger that was only moments ago inside of me into Fletcher's mouth, daring him to suck, never breaking his gaze. He does feverishly, taking each of his fingers offered into his mouth, savoring what's left of me on Colin, as he pulls each one of them out slowly, unexpectedly leaning in for a kiss. The kiss was so deep and sensual, I could feel the need for one another just by looking at them, embracing one another and holding on for dear life. I sit up completely erect, watching as the scene of seduction plays itself out right before my eyes, and it's so damn hot. I never thought the sight of two men kissing would be this much of a turn on, but I can't take my eyes off of them. Fletcher relaxes and lets go, easing into the kiss even more, grabbing a handful of Colin's unruly curls, forcing his head back, opening him up more to their embrace. Pulling away mid-kiss, Colin removes his shirt only to go right back into it with Fletcher, removing his shorts and underwear. Fletcher peers down, taking in Colin's manhood. His dick is perfection, the perfect size and length for sucking. They both drop a hand and touch each other's erection, jerking each other off simultaneously with mouths open, waiting for the warm streams of cum to flow. I'm moving for the kill. It's my turn now to feel the smoothness of Colin's stunning, flaccid shaft. I kiss one of them and then the other before laying down again, offering myself to whomever wanted to enter. They were both more than welcome. Fletcher is the first to take the bait. Moving away from Colin's embrace, he focuses on me and my position, seemingly intrigued by my eagerness to give of myself. He takes a long look at Colin, grabbing his girth, easing all of it into me, inch by inch, only to pull out of me completely moments after, holding himself, imploring Colin to suck him completely dry of me. Colin takes almost all of him into his mouth greedily, replacing my natural wetness with the moisture of his own mouth, keeping him hard and eager for me. They kiss again full on, tongues and glorious mouths everywhere, as Fletcher thrusts into me, grinding his hips, with stomach muscles clenched, spreading me wider, holding my knees back for deeper penetration.
Oh my God. First things first, I am going to 100% feed your taste the next time we do that. Just because that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The whole
To
like,
me? To
yeah,
who?
no, because like fingering you and then like putting my fingers in the guy's mouth so that way he can taste you off of my fingers.
Yeah.
And then you've had that where, like, so the first time I ever touched a penis, so we were having sex, and this guy's fucking Janelle, and he pulled out too far, and his dick fell out. And he's like, hey, can you help me with that? And I'm like, okay, because I didn't want to be like, no. You know what I mean? Like, what? That would just make me a douche. So I'm like, sure, I'll do it. So I grab his dick, and I put it back in Janelle, and she was like in ecstasy.
That is hot.
That is like, I'm so hot right now from that. And I'm just like,
yummy.
that was so for the listeners out there who might be like, well, she hasn't had that before. That was exquisite.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Like that was like, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I've done it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? That was so hot.
that's what's in my head.
I feel like you must be masturbating a lot. Like that's
You know.
Every morning
I know myself very well. Put it that way.
But that was so hot though.
Yeah, no, that was very hot.
And the
Oh,
thing
and
is,
it gets more. It gets.
ooh,
That's just the. That's just the.
That's a taste.
that's a
Yeah.
taste, everybody. You need. So what? So here's what I want to do. I like as we get closer to the release date. So actually, oh, don't.
Sorry.
Why are you touching things? So, anyways, so if you send me like the info for your website and where they can get it, I'm gonna post it up on the sowhatitsjustsex.com.
A link.
Yeah.
A link so that people can go to sowhatitsjustsex.com, find the Fallon Elaine link,
Yeah.
and then you can go there and add the book to your list on Amazon. And then it comes out June 30th.
Yes, comes out June 30th. I do have a teaser for it. That is on. That's free on Prolific Works.
Okay.
Which used to be Insta Freebie. For all the old heads who used to use Insta. Now it's called Prolific Works. They changed the name on me. But it's called Milk and Honey, and
Okay.
it's from their perspective, the two men's perspective. It's a short teaser, kind of introducing how Fletcher thinks and how Fallon thinks about the situation
Yeah.
later on. So that's kind of interesting. It's the first time I've written from the male perspective, so I wanted to kind of give it a go. And that's kind of like a little teaser, but you can find me on all social media, on IG at Fallon Lane Author, on Facebook, author Fallon Eden Lane, and on Twitter at Fallon Eden Lane 2.
And
number 2.
what's your website?
The website is Fallon Eden Lane Author .wixsite.com.
Okay.
Okay, and
Yeah,
so
a girl can't afford the own domain name, so
so
you know.
and we're also going to put all that stuff up on our
Yeah.
website, because trust us, people who have not experienced male female, that was super hot.
Super hot. And I was just thinking, like, how fun would that be to have that, like, in real life, where you have like a throuple and you have two guys and a female, like, being able to access each other all the time? Like, how exciting would that be?
So is it like a thing just because I'm not putting someone's dick in my mouth that has your taste on it? Like it's not.
I'm just curious.
You just want to see what that looks like?
Absolutely. Why not?
Why don't I pull my dick out and let him? Well, we had that. We had that. I mean, our friend put my dick in his mouth and it had your taste on it.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah,
That's
that
But
happened.
I did not tell her that was happening at that moment, because we were in, it wasn't the right moment. It was just like, it'd be weird for me to be like, hey, just so that you know, I know his face is next to yours, but he's sucking my dick right now.
Just to let you know, here's what's happening.
so you
down
missed
here.
it?
I missed it, and then I was like, "Why didn't you tell me that was going on?" I was so sad he didn't tell me,
So
so I didn't get to see it.
Just wrong.
Great.
That was just wrong.
thanks,
I
Fallon.
know.
Now I have all this stuff to live up to.
No, I was thinking the same. Like, he made this face, and I was like, "What's going on down there?" Like, as this guy is fucking.
Because
me,
I
and was like,
couldn't believe, because he's on top of her and he's fucking her.
I mean,
and,
I'm having a great time,
so-
but I'm like, something else.
So
is
they're
going
like
on.
face to face, and then I'm laying this way where my face is here and my body's over here, so that I can watch their faces together, because that was so hot. And he's jerked me off before, so he got his hand on my dick, and then suddenly he like moves over and he starts to put my dick in his mouth. He just holds it there. He didn't like suck it, but he like put
I think he was experimenting.
yeah,
so.
but he put my dick in his mouth. I was like,
What's going on? What's happening down there? Is there something going on that?
and I was like,
don't
don't
know?
worry, I'll tell you later. And we said the whole
Yeah,
thing
get
via
memes,
looks.
but
Yeah, and he's super
Lord
sexy.
have mercy.
Two very sexy men. I felt very lucky to be in that situation.
And
You
I was just like, this is happening right now, and I have to deal with it in the moment, because again, I'm not trying to be that person where like someone puts their mouth on my dick and I'm like, get off of there. I'm
Yo,
like, no,
bro, what are you doing?
yeah, I'm like, okay,
Ask you a question, Ron.
what's up?
Did you like it?
It was you know, the problem is you know how like sometimes you will have something you've never eaten before, and the first time it hits your mouth, the texture's weird. So you're like, I don't know if I like it. You know what I mean?
Oh God.
The jury's still out. He's like, I'm not
So
sure.
you don't know if you like it.
He
Yeah.
doesn't
So
know.
Is the reason why you didn't like it because it was unfamiliar?
yeah,
or that it
100%.
didn't feel good?
No, 100%. It was because it was unfamiliar. It
I
had,
feel like you got a mouth on your dick. That's got to feel good, regardless of whether
I mean, did
it's.
it feel good? Is the question.
but
right?
that, but
If you were blind,
Yeah, exactly.
so because I got in my head, I was started to be afraid that I was going to lose my erection. So I didn't want to lose my erection in his mouth because I didn't want to scar someone. But it definitely took some like, okay, stay hard. You can do it, Ron.
Oh,
So it wasn't bad. It wasn't like disgusting or anything like that. Like it wasn't. It's not like if the situation arose again, I'd be like, "Hey, just a quick FYI, keep your mouth off my dick." I wouldn't do that. But it definitely because it was so foreign to me.
Yeah.
It was like it was more of a shock because I didn't expect it. Even though he was like on
Next
several.
time I see you, I'm gonna put my dick. He said I'm gonna put your dick or
No.
his dick in your mouth.
Right, and I was like, "That's not going to happen."
And
But
then
in the end,
went
it
the
turned
other
out.
way.
It turned out the other way. And
Ron's like,
Yeah.
fun fact, we get text messages all the time, and he's like, "Oh, he says I miss you" to me, as well as Janelle.
Yeah,
So it's
he
not.
says, I miss you guys.
Yeah, so it's never just like, "Oh, I miss Janelle's pussy." He's like, "Oh, I miss you." And like one time he texted me on my own. He's like, "I miss you," and I showed Janelle. I'm like, "Look, he just texted me. He misses me." I'm like, "What? What am I gonna do with that?"
put
But
it
you know,
on him. He
you know,
ruined.
I'm just trying. I'm just trying to be. You know, the thing is like I can't. I'm not trying to like talk the talk if I can't walk the walk. So I'm just keeping myself open.
Yeah, I've had girls sitting on my face. I never thought that would happen.
You have had girls sitting on your face.
Yeah,
So
Did you like?
I love it. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm
Right.
not as scared, and that's
She's a team
foreign.
player.
yeah,
It's foreign,
Yeah, she's-
but it's great.
She's a team player. I don't know about you, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
you know what? The jury's out, and I'm gonna do my best to like be the best version of me I can sexually.
I'm not
But-
judging you, honey.
but I
it's
will-
it's like an evolution. It's
Yeah.
an evolution.
But I will say that you only read a tiny excerpt from your book.
And it was hot and steamy as fuck.
And I already have new things I'm gonna try. you like literally read like what was that? 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm already educated on the things that I'm gonna do. So I'm excited.
Wait, do I need to get on some app and start swiping away right now to find somebody?
Of course, let's test this out. Because when we have Fallon back on the show, we got to be like, so Ron was fingering me, and then he put his
Yeah.
fingers in that guy's mouth, and the dude sucked it off, and it was as hot as you.
I think I would be like gushing wet if that happened in real
Oh.
life.
Yeah.
Niagara
Yeah.
Falls.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Just drowning.
Yeah, it would just be pouring everywhere.
Oh,
I can't wait.
so hot.
Hashtag goals.
Yeah, right. Well,
Hashtag
I'm
go.
super happy that I achieved that goal.
You
That's
did. You're
my
gonna
motto.
you're gonna do that for so many people too. It's not just gonna be us. It's like
Okay.
I don't know, opening people's minds. Like, you're reading this shit and you're like, okay, well, if this person's writing about it, it must be like okay, like you're making it like more acceptable, more socially normal, whatever.
Yeah, and we're telling you here, folks, like you need to go out and read this. Like it is going to be, I mean, firsthand knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've done this before. So if it was just mediocre, we'd be like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly how it went. No, I'm telling you.
But at the very least, if you're not in a position to go out and do that because of your current situation, at least you should be able to fantasize about the things that you want to fantasize
Right.
about, you
Yeah.
know?
No,
Right.
and
You don't have to go out and do it.
Right.
It's perfectly healthy to have the fantasy like I do and just read about it and then bring it home to your partner
Yep.
or whomever you're with, whether it be male, female, or 2 males and 1 female, however many
Right.
people. It could be a whole orgy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's healthy
yeah.
to have these feelings. It's healthy to want to explore and do some new things.
Absolutely.
Sex doesn't have to be completely vanilla all the time.
No.
Yeah.
Even vanilla's a wonderful taste, but I have a lot of colors in my house.
I like the Neapolitan. I
Well,
like the chocolate
Yeah.
vanilla strawberry.
we
I
we
like
were
some
talking
chocolate
about this.
chips.
I think
I
it was
like
on the
cookies
last
and
episode
cream. Yeah.
where I was like, or no, not the last episode, a couple episodes ago, where I was like, put some sprinkles on it. Like you don't, you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
be vanilla.
Yeah.
Just throw little sprinkles on there.
Little sprinkles, a little something happening.
And I have to say, like, I've had a man put his mouth on my dick, and though I was going through stuff then, I still found what you said to be super hot, because there are times where, like, the taste of you is on a cock, you know, and to be able to share that taste with someone else, I feel like that is just, I didn't really think about it like that. Like I'm still growing as a sexual being.
We all are.
And I'm still trying to be like better.
Not just sexually, just as people. Everyone is just a constant state of growth.
Sex is the only thing that matters. So I'm just trying to be better sexually. I'm just trying to be a better partner. And I
Okay.
think that that's super hot. And I from hearing that, like, in full disclosure, total honesty, hearing that excerpt made me want to go run out, find a dude.
That's what I just said. Should I start swiping?
Yes, and we need to find someone who is a little bit more open, so that way, because a lot of times it's like I know that we shouldn't live in this day and age, but I still are like, okay, I'm a guy who considers himself a cis male, so I have to fall within this little boundary. So we need to find someone who's not a cis male, which is totally naive of me. I get it.
Hetero-flexible.
But hetero-flexible, which is apparently what I've deemed myself on our apps, I think we should try that.
Heteroflex. I like it. What was mine? You guys never figured mine out. Remember?
Oh, so we were talking about this the other day, about getting a name for a person whose fetish or whose need or fantasy or love is male, female. So what would we say to that? So let's see. So you have you have pan, you have bi, you have all these things. I mean, would you be like?
I don't know, because it's just a fantasy. Would you ever act on any of these things that you fantasize about?
Yeah, but what would you search on YouPorn? You know what I mean? Like, what would you search on YouPorn? Like, you wouldn't search massage. You would search.
No, you search male,
Right,
female.
but what if we gave it a name? So let's.
There's no name for a female,
No.
male. It's just threesome.
No,
it's
I
just
know,
a
but
threesome.
but I want a name for it. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna throw it out to the listeners, and we're gonna be like, give us your best. Hit us up on Instagram and give us your best name for male, female. Like I'm thinking, like, it's got to be like double sticks.
Double sticks.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll have to put a pin in this.
But then we'll put it out on Twitter and we'll do all that stuff. But we got to create a name for it because it deserves a name.
Okay.
It does.
Yeah.
Because the Devil's Triangle wait, actually, isn't it called the Devil's Triangle?
That's two
don't know.
girls. and
No,
a
that's
guy.
2 males and a female. I'm
Oh,
telling you
you're
right now.
You're right. You're my
Yeah,
favorite.
it's actually called the Devil's Triangle, but that's a terrible name.
It's also
I
called
don't want that.
It's also called the Eiffel Tower.
No, the Eiffel Tower is a sexual move.
I know.
But we need to change it because the Devil's Triangle is not a good name.
Yeah, that doesn't make me happy.
No, it's a very negative connotation.
No.
But that's also a sexual move. That's not.
No, the Devil's Triangle is called 2
identification.
men and a female, and the reason why I know this is because that stupid fucking Supreme Court piece of shit. But anyways,
No political
no,
discussions.
we're not
thank
gonna,
you.
we're never
No.
gonna say that fucker's name.
No
but I'm just
political
saying
discussion.
that,
No,
like,
no.
but that piece of shit is what
Yeah.
made it. It's like literally.
Okay, moving on. Next topic.
So
No.
so your first tale comes out June 30th. What is
Yes.
your release window looking like? Is there a window? Do you have the next 4 outlined?
Well, I have a few of them done, and of course, I have them outlined. I want to rapid release one a month.
Oh,
So
nice.
That's good. Yeah.
That's my goal. Hashtag goal. My goal is to rapid release one a month in succession. and kind of go from there.
'Cause
I don't know if that's happened.
Hopefully people are going to want to keep reading, so you don't want to wait too long before you release the next one.
Yeah. And
Right.
then also you kind of want to like, make sure that people can get the whole story. Now, are you going to release all of them on paperback when it's all done?
Okay. People have asked me that question, and I have a paperback for only one cover right now. I have a paperback for that. What I was trying to do was to see how it was going to do before I offer a paperback. But I've had mixed reviews on what to do about that. I would love to have a paperback, but it's so thin. It's a story.
Yeah.
It's not like a book. So that's kind of why I didn't want to move forward with that. Now, my idea is to, after I finish rapid releasing them, to do a bundle and maybe do a cover for that, and then have that as one publication with all the stories within it, and then I can make that a paperback.
I feel like that's a really good idea.
Yeah, that would be that. Like
my opinion matters.
Yeah, if our opinion is at all influential in the world, it seems like it seems like that would be like amazing.
Yeah,
and you can go on tour.
Yeah, come to Napa.
Yeah, we can, because there's like 6 bookstores around here that I could probably get you into, like within Sonoma, Santa Rosa. There's this like little like bookstore that I know the owners, so we can like get you over there, and then you can just tell your husband, be like, hey, I have no choice but to go to Napa, and it's too expensive to take. That's what Janelle does. She goes away for work. I'm gonna use. And she's like, you can come with me, but that's like $800. Where if I go through my work, it's free.
I do go for work.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So you can just be like, honey, I gotta go do this thing. It's work.
It is work.
Yeah, and he'd be down. He doesn't keep me from moving on and traveling or what have you.
That's
if I
really
can.
cool.
So, are you excited? Are you like excited, nervous? Like, how does it feel to know that you're about to be published?
All of that. I mean, it's surreal. And it's surreal to be talking to someone about it.
Yeah.
This started a year and a half ago with one little story, and I'm telling my husband about this story and da-da-da, and he's like, okay, that sounds that oh boy, that sounds kind of okay, because the other story is a male female, but it turns into a male female. And like I said, I started writing that one as a novella, and that one's about a woman who can't have a sexual orgasm, and she decides that she wants to take care of that, so she goes to a sexual therapist who happens to be also licensed as a sexual surrogate, and he helps her to achieve that goal. But her boyfriend is also involved, and that's when
shit
the
gets crazy.
kind of comes out. And
shit gets crazy.
I now know what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a sexual surrogate. I've seen this before. I want to do it.
I researched it. I called the sexual therapist a year or so ago and talked to this nice man. He was a sexual therapist.
Oh my goodness.
And he gave me all of this information, and we chatted for a good while. He was in Florida, and he gave me a movie to watch and a book to read. And I did a lot of research on sexual surrogacy because I didn't want to do it wrong, and make it seem like, oh, they're just fucking somebody and it's okay. It's legal, and that's the purpose. And it's actually, they are having sex, but it's to help with help someone who can't achieve certain aspects.
Yeah.
And it's really, I believe that those people are like angels. Like, it's like they're helping people figure themselves out sexually and actually feel something. And a lot of those people are like physically challenged, mentally challenged, medically challenged. So it's not just about getting off. It is about getting off, but it's about letting someone fulfill that need that all humans have.
Yeah.
And I got really into it, and I started doing the research, and I wrote about 7 chapters, but it just got a little too much for me, and I sent it to some people, and they're like, you need to, something's not right.
I don't know.
They're like, we like the idea, but
I feel like I found my calling.
did you now?
Yeah, I think so. I think in this episode I found out what I want to be. I want to be a sexual surrogate.
Okay.
You got to do it for the right reasons. Ron.
Oh, the
So
reason
putting in
the
the
reason
applications and see what happens.
the reason is so that I can make others feel good. It just so happens that in the end I could also feel good. That's like it's not that's not what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
It's not about me.
In my version, it ends up being about that. But in real life,
In real life, it's totally about that. In real life, it's really about that.
It sounds a little
it's
deeper.
a medical thing. It's
Right.
not about actually feeling pleasure on your end, Ron.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine what the final would be like? Like there'd be this woman.
To
Okay,
get certified?
yeah, to get certified, she'd be like, okay, you have to make me come, and I only have a 40-minute session, and I'd be like, I'm
That's
on
hot.
it.
I need that story. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I'm like sitting there, being like, I could do this.
I feel like you would
I'm in it.
falter under pressure.
I would.
This
The
is too
moment
much.
someone gave me money, my dick would be like, nah, man, I'm out.
Too much pressure.
Oh.
Stage fright.
Like I'm out, dude. There's
Oh.
thanks, honey.
Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
You know what? You've just crushed my dreams, and that's fine because I still love you.
I mean, I just said put in some applications, see what happens.
Janelle's sexual surrogate.
Oh, if she was?
What if Janelle was a sexual
I
surrogate?
would love that. That'd
Oh.
be great.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's technically what we call
because
her.
I am kind of like caring in that way, where I'm like, let's take care of you.
I have seen you in the act, and caring is not the word I would use. You're like, yeah, take that dick.
what?
Keep fucking me. Yeah. Make that pussy yours. Drip, drip.
All right.
That's
All
what
right.
that's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it could be
Handle
that. But if there was a medical reason where I had to be in a situation for a certain reason, that would be different. It's a different mind space.
No, I think it's just hotter if it's you than it's me.
Your mind
the
goes
book-
to the gutter.
For the book purposes, it would be hotter. More copies would sell if it was you. No one wants to pay this. No one wants to pay this.
Don't say that. Every woman has a different taste.
That's true.
It's something for somebody out there somewhere, everywhere.
It's so
Hey,
true.
you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I've asked that question several times. I have a thing for Asian men, and it's so weird to have an African American woman writing about 2 Asian men getting it on, and loving it. And I was like, is there a name for me? Like,
It's just what you find attractive,
Yeah, for food, people that like food like splashing. How come I don't have a name? They name for everything. Why not that?
It's the problem. It's the problems of a writer. Always, you need a name so that way you know what to call it when you're writing about it.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to come up with one. We're gonna have to do it.
We're gonna.
Yeah,
have to do
I'm
it.
excited about.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So
about that.
so July, August, September, October, November. That's your release schedule.
Yeah, that's my thought, is to do it that way, and then at the end offer it as a bundle.
So then, what we should do is, so your next release would be the end of July.
Yeah,
Is that right? So
yeah, I'm shooting.
We can check back in.
yeah, so we definitely need to check back in with you and see how things are going. And people.
Because that one's interesting too.
Oh, and what's the next one? What's the July one called?
It's called The Feel of Cassandra.
The Feel of who?
Cassandra.
Did you say Cassandra or Assandra?
No, Cassandra.
Cassandra. Okay, so the feel of Cassandra.
The feel
I,
of Cassandra.
I feel like I'm gonna have to know what Madeline tastes like. I need to feel Cassandra.
Oh wait, no, that's not the one. I changed it. Excuse me. The next one is The Essence of Sophia. That's
Ooh,
because
I love
that
that
is
name.
another male, female, and I decided to put the two male, females back.
So the essence.
I like it.
Yeah, and
I
that
feel
was
like
a kink fetish
Oh
that
my
Ooh.
gosh.
I feel like I've experienced your essence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and how so?
No, I feel like your essence has been experienced. Like you'll get into this like mode where you're just like
Feeling myself?
yeah, and then it's like your essence, like your inner self, like this like almost like a ghost, like you're possessed by your own sexuality. I felt that.
That's a good way to say it, I suppose.
Yeah. In this case, the essence is actually smell related. So this woman has a fetish for books, and she loves to smell.
They smell
books.
good. They smell good, actually.
Like a book
Yeah.
smells really good. Barnes and Noble. If I could fuck in the middle of a Barnes and Noble,
Oh
if
my
there's
God.
any left, I would.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, I can just see like books falling. And,
Oh. You see, that's a difference between men and women again. Like I'm just like trying to like just get off, and you're like, I want to be pushed against a bookshelf and knock shit over.
Rough
And I'm-
me up.
Some
Knock
stuff
shit
falling over.
down. Yes.
some
I gotta get
secretion
yeah.
on the books.
I gotta get better at this. I gotta get better at this. All right, so I'm gonna get better, and that's what we're gonna do. So we should meet back up in about a month to talk about the book that came out June 30th and
Yes.
about the next book that comes out. All of our information will be up tomorrow on our website, probably later in the evening, so that way you know where to go. What's today's date? The 9th. So tomorrow's June
Yeah.
10th. So on June 10th, you can go on there, 6 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can get all the info for Fallon's links. So you're on Instagram, you are on Twitter, you gave all those links. I'm going to have them all on the website. We are on sowhatitsjustsex.com, sowhatitsjustsx on Twitter and Instagram, sowhatitsjustsex on Facebook. And we have just like, we've had the best time.
Yeah, thank you for joining us tonight.
You're so fun.
I can't wait to
Aw.
see how this all plays out. I can't wait to read it. It's going to be great.
Oh, we definitely have to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I have it on Amazon. I've already added it to my list.
Oh, thank you so much for the support, and I'm so excited that you guys had me on, and I can't wait for you guys to read it. I hope it lives up to the hype.
Just that little part did. Just that little bit. I was like, okay, I'm definitely interested.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I've learned something already. You've taught me.
Yeah.
You're my
Ooh.
teacher.
I love like when you read something and then you envision it in your mind, like how it's going to play out, you know, like the way that people look, or, you know, you start fantasizing about being in the room or being that character, whoever it may be. So that's going to be
It
really
is so
fun.
hot and it's so freaking sexy. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And we will see you next week. Thank you, Fallon.
Thank you.
thank you guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fun. Oh my goodness. Did you have a good time?
I did. I was super nervous.
Well, I couldn't tell.
No, you were natural. You're a natural.
Yeah, you're gonna have like when you do your world tour and you're having to answer a lot of questions, you're gonna be totally chill about it.
But we need to be your sexual surrogate when you go to London and visit Good Girl Gone Bad or whatever.
Yeah, we should totally
We'll
gotta
just
totally
book
do
a
that.
trip when you go, and then we'll all just party together. That'd be so fun.
Oh,
Wouldn't
I
that
would
be-
love to go to London so badly. I tell her all the time, like, I want to go to the UK. She's like, it's not that special.
They think well, it's because we're over here, and like when you go over there, they're like, "Oh, America, America," and it's like, no, America, is not this way. So it's like like you think it's better over there, they think it's better over here, type of thing, you know.
Yeah, it's
But
always like that.
I would love.
I
to
can't
go
wait
over there.
for Good Girl Gone Bad stories I have to write. I've gotta throw those out. It's too
What is she
pet
married or
stories
anything like that?
to
Yeah,
Is she married?
No, she's married.
She is married.
Yeah.
yeah, she's
Okay.
she's married.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I've got two pet stories for her coming out.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, this was so much fun, and I hope you had a good time.
I did, believe me. it's a thrill. Trust me, it's a complete thrill. And
I
you
can't
guys
wait to
are
read
super
all your stuff and like,
Oh, I know.
and then have you back on and be able to like reference your characters and like I'm gonna highlight my favorite parts and we can talk about it.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to do that. And we knew you'd be amazing.
Yeah.
You're just talking to you on the phone for a little bit. Actually, your text messages, we were like, no, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. We knew it.
Yeah, but that was
I'll try
awesome. And
Good.
so
So
what I'm
you're
going to
gonna
go.
edit it and put it up tomorrow?
Well, I'm not going to edit.
oh,
I'm just going to go.
edit, but I mean like
Yeah,
post it.
I'm going to put it up in 15 minutes.
Okay.
So it'll be up
Okay.
in like 30 minutes.
Okay.
So
You guys, I'll look at the because I listen to you guys on Podbean. I'll just look on Podbean and
yeah,
then
I'll send you a text message when it's
Yeah,
when
we'll
it's
send
up
you a
and ready.
text when it's ready to go.
Yeah. So
okay. Oh, it's gonna be so hear my voice.
thank you so much.
goodness.
You are incredible.
You're adorable. We
Yes.
like you a lot.
Thank-
You're super cool.
Yeah, and actually we're gonna go record our first video segment where we talk about what we talked about on the show.
Talk about being nervous. I don't even know how that's going.
And then we're gonna post that up at some point tomorrow. So not only will there be the podcast tonight, but then I'm gonna start putting stuff up on YouTube. So that's gonna be
Yay.
interesting.
I was wondering about YouTube. Why you guys aren't on YouTube?
Yeah, we haven't done. We
Well,
just got a nice camera.
We're
and
on
lighting,
YouTube with our podcast,
but not video. It's just
But
yeah,
not video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so we're about to start video,
Yeah.
which is why I did my hair and I shaved.
Guys look great, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Janelle's very nervous.
I'm very nervous, but it should be fine. I'm just gonna whatever. It's fine.
But what I'll do is I'll send you like once it goes up, I'll hit you up, and then throughout the week I'll send you like little snippets of like how the downloads are going.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay. We'll talk to you
You
later.
are so amazing.
All right.
We'll text you in a little bit. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah,
Bye.
mwah, mwah.
Bye.
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 So what? It's just sex.
Wait a minute.